Howdy, here we are again. Today I have a full reformer class for us. Every week in the studio, I like to centre my workouts around a theme, and this theme is forwards and backwards. So, vague enough to encompass everything on a reformer, but specifically thinking about forwards and back movement, and also using the body to find the space in front of the body and then playing around in the space behind the body as well, either side of that center line. As you can see here, we're starting just with some super simple double leg press on the balls of the feet. I really like to use this time to get mindful, get connected to my body, get focused, all that stuff. I'm then going into a forwards and back through my heels, so a little heel press here. And I had a little sneaky look just to double check that my alignment was right with those ankles. Take as many as you need here. In fact, you can pause here and you can do a few more double leg press and heel press if that's your thing. We're going into single leg work now, so bringing one leg up into a tabletop position. And then I'm going to go forwards and backwards again through a single leg press, and I'm going to take an extra forward stretch with that leg over the foot bar. I'm going to pull that knee back towards me. And for the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to go a little bit further than back to a tabletop position. I'm going to pull that knee all the way back into my chest, really getting a deep flexion in the hip. And you'll notice I took the first one a little slower and hugged that knee into my chest as well. That's nice. If you want a little bit more of a coordination challenge, then you can take an over and under. I'm taking these really steady here, but whatever works for your body. Steady enough to get all the technique in, quick enough to maybe challenge and warm up that body as well. So I'm going to take a few forwards and backs with that single leg press, with additional forward and back with that top leg. Just while I'm doing the other side here, a little note on these sessions that ordinarily, this is a full 50-minute session. When I teach this in the studio to a full class of people, you'll notice already on the little counter at the bottom here that it's like a 25-minute session. So we're whizzing through a little bit quicker. I'm taking less time to set up and work through each exercise. We're whippy, snappy through, okay? So if you're doing this as your own workout, if you've got a little bit longer, you might want to occasionally pause my voice and just take a few extra reps of each thing. But in this short time, I'm going to do my best to talk us through a few little technique points that I found useful when teaching this week. Alrighty, let's move on. I've just pinged off a medium spring here, leaving myself just one medium, one light. That's the yellow and blue if you're on a peak Pilates reformer. And I'm going to use the ropes now for some arm work. So hands in a little hoops. And I'm going to start with the arms just a little bit further forward than maybe we would do ordinarily. So reaching forward at that 45-degree angle. So as when I lift my legs up to a tabletop, double knee fold position, my hands sitting just outside my knees. From here, I'm going to repeat that forwards and back, but alternating right and left leg. A single leg stretch, if you will. Let's be honest about things. So I'm stretching one leg forward, drawing back this time just into a tabletop stretch forward and pull back. I'm really thinking about core here, core control, keeping that lower back nice and long, just being careful that it's not arching kind of uncontrollably up away from the mat. And I'm using this to kind of just tap into some breath work as well. I'm going to exhale, tighten that core stretch away. Inhale as the knee comes back up towards the chest, continually keeping that core pulling in and down, tight and strong. If you want to work harder, you can do that with the arms up towards the ceiling. From here, round two, I'm going to move the arms. I'm going to nudge them up to the ceiling, back to kind of 90 degrees, and then forward just either side of those knees. And because I'm going a slightly smaller range of motion than our usual full double arm press, I'm going to take it a little bit quicker as well, and nudge and lift and nudge and lift. All the while keeping really, really connected to the core, if that makes sense. I'm keeping the abdomen in and tight. I'm feeling that pressure in my abdominals. Round three, I'm going to combine the two now. I'm going to take a leg stretch and I'm going to slow down and make that double arm press a little bit longer. So pushing the arms down almost all the way to the mat, accompanying that with a single leg stretch, and also feel free to chuck in a curl up here. Flows really nicely together. Exhale, double arm press, single leg stretch, curl up, inhale to come back. And we're going to keep an extra eye on the control on the way back. Yes, we know what happens on that forward reach, sure, but how much control can we exhibit on the way back as well? As those arms come up, can we keep the posture under control? Can we keep the abs working hard, not just kind of let go of everything on the way back? So I want our focus to be on this back part of the movement as well. Keep it nice and smooth, nice and steady. And then we're going to take the feet down to the foot bar, glide everything in, take a little breather. Okay, my friends, long handle of one rope only over the foot on the same side. So right rope, right foot, for example. This exercise coming up, we're going to do 3 rounds and we're going to do 3 reps. So you're going to push the foot forward again to that kind of 45-degree angle. Other leg comes next door as if it's got a rope on as well, which of course it doesn't. Stay strong in that center. Everything's going to feel wonky-donkey. We're going to take that spare leg, if you will, the one without a rope, slightly forward, scissor it past, and slightly back towards your nose. Hamstring flexibility depending, of course. Okay, we're going to do that 3 times. Forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Then going to bring the leg back next door to one another. Round 2, we do it at 90 degrees. Take it forward, pull that leg back. Going to require more flexibility, but also the hamstrings of that leg in the rope are working harder at this angle to keep that carriage still against the resistance of those ropes. Round 3, as an option, you lift up into a kind of control balance-esque situation here. So you're up in that high shoulder stand variation. Don't come at me for the headrest. I left it up for this one. I think I put it down the other side. Same thing, 3 times forward and backwards. It feels different. Now it takes way more strength and control to take the foot away towards the foot bar. How far can you nudge it? Keeping those feet high, keeping them as 90 degrees as you can. Once we've rolled down smoothly, we blast out a bit of energy. We shake it up after all of that control and brace, and we do some leg press here. This feels really strange with only one foot in the rope. So it's really good for kind of body awareness and trying to stay centered, trying to keep those legs under control, all those kind of fine control muscles there. Fine control is what I'm after there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we've got 3 reps of forward and back with that spare leg. There's that forward and back theme. And we've got 3 rounds progressively getting harder. So either you or your clients could take it to whatever level they want. First level, a little bit easier. Leg stays away at the 45 degrees. Keep the carriage still. Keep your posture nice and strong. Squeeze that leg towards you. Okay, round 2, we're up at 90 degrees. That spare leg goes forward and back. Squeeze that leg, really flex. Again, we've got that hip flexion going. Squeeze that leg towards you. Round 3, keep those legs long, keep the tailbone, keep that butt pulling down into the mat. Round 3, squeeze the abs, squeeze the glutes, lift up high, get that length. How strongly and still can you hold that carriage? It's harder on a lighter spring, okay? The lighter the spring, the harder it is to hold this, which is why it's super blooming hard in mat work, okay? So we're referencing the control balance from the original mat work repertoire. If that's important to you, this is a little bit like a jackknife roll down. Lovely. And then we're going to blast out a little bit of energy. We've got that deep flexion at the hip again. We've got that flexion at the knee. Trying to keep the ankles next door to one another. Trying to keep the legs shooting for that center line. Body awareness and all of that fine control as we go for the center line without letting the rope pull you all wonky donkey. All right, let's de-rope and have a little breather moment. After all of that energy and holding, embracing and control and caution, nice just to shake things out a little bit. So I've got a little bit of a stretch for the chest and the shoulders here, gorgeous for posture. And I'm just going to rock and roll those knees side to side, just shaking out the energy in the hips and the legs and enjoying that little mid-spine twist here. Nice bit of rotation. So just a little breather moment. All right, we're going 4-point kneel next. So grab a drink, take a little moment to adjust your leggings, and then we're going to go 4-point kneeling. So you want your knees up against the shoulder pads. You're then going to lean forward and put your hands on the frame of the reformer, one on each side, of course. And the key for this one, there's like 2 very similar exercises that are done here. This is the one that we ain't. No way going to move that head anywhere closer to the wall ahead of you to the end of the reformer. Upper body stays where it is. Again, just to kind of tuck back into that theme, we've got that hip flexion, right? So you see The movement is initiating from the hip joint here. I'm flexing my hip to tuck my knees forward underneath my belly. Nice to do this on a breath out and inhale to control back. So I'm bringing the knees forward and backward. That's our tentative forward and back theme here. Finding the space in front of the body and then controlling that carriage back. We've got the strength through the shoulders and the lats and triceps a little bit, the top of the body to maintain that position. The abdominals are working, the hip flexors are working, everything's working to be honest, but that's the main things here. If we want a little bit more, we're going to explore this space in the back body, behind the body. Bring the knees forward in front of the body and then take one knee up behind the body, little glute kick. Also very good for kind of postural awareness, so you're not kind of throwing that leg up, arching and scrumpling in the lower back. Keep the core tight, squeeze from the glutes, squeeze the butt cheek to lift that leg up. If you want to make it harder here, maybe the carriage doesn't quite make it all the way back to the stopper. You can see the subtle difference here because I've got a wobbly carriage. I'm trying to keep that carriage suspended here as I kick that knee up behind me. Much harder, takes more strength, more control, to be honest. So it's a really nice little option to add in if you want to make life a little bit harder for yourself here. So bring the knees forward underneath the belly, take 1 foot back, and then bring the carriage back. Nice to drop into a little child's pose here. We are coming off the reformer next, so of course you can hop skippity up away from the reformer as soon as you're ready. Take a little breather moment. Yeah, weight off the wrist, little wiggle jiggle. All right, let's go standing set. Grab yourself a little hand weight. I've got 2.5 kgs if you're interested here. I'm doing a scooter. I'm doing a scooter on a very light spring. I want to shift the energy from the quads, pushing that mat back into the standing leg, predominantly around the glutes, glute medius. And glute max, really stabilizing that hip. I've got a little bit of softness, shall we say, in that knee that I'm standing on, and I'm consciously rooting, grounding, anchoring that heel that I'm standing on into the floor. From here, I'm going to keep that mat back somewhere out the way, and I'm going to take an arm press forward and pull back in. Keep that elbow tucked in, just challenging balance and stability. Try and keep the core tight, back long. It's just a little balance challenge here. Your glutes are probably on fire at this point. Feel free to do more repetitions than I'm doing here. Surprise, surprise, we combine the two. One leg goes backwards, one arm goes forwards. Do you see what we're doing here? One forwards, one back. All the while, everything in that center space, your torso, that standing leg, solid as a rock. We ain't going anywhere. So stable, so strong. And a final little balance, which if you want to make it harder, you can lift that heel that you're standing on. You can even send that hand out in front of you. Super steady. Hold it for a couple of breaths, maybe a count of 5. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. So again, light spring. I've got a blue spring on this Peak Pilates reformer. We're going to keep the back long. Tilt that chest just slightly forward so we're not staying super upright. Softness in that standing leg. We're going to push back. The carriage is so light. We're so stable on that standing leg that it should feel like that back leg can just float backwards and forwards. Easy peasy. It's just gliding back, gliding forwards. Can do this all day long. We're going to move nice and steadily enough to keep our balance and our technique, but quick enough to challenge ourselves as well. So feel free to kind of take the pace up of this as well, especially if you've got a good track on here. Keep the breath nice and steady. Weight comes up. It goes from the shoulder straight forward. Don't let it start to droop down towards the floor. Press forward, squeeze it in. Press forward, squeeze it in. That mat is staying out the way. You want one leg to be definitely behind the other leg. We go for a combination. Press. Everything draws to the center. Press. Everything draws to the center. Again, check in with that heel that you're standing on. Is it rooting down into the floor? It's so going to help with stability and balance here. Get into the flow of things. And then we've got an evil hold at the end. Lift that heel if you can. Keep that arms outstretched if you can. Hold it for a decent count of 5. And then release smoothly, avec control. Let's not collapse. All right, nice set. a long box section for us now. Grab your long box, and I propose that we start with the upper body after all of that leg business, right? So again, I'm going to keep the light spring, and I'm going to sit side on to the box. I'm going to grab the rope that's at what feels like at the front. I'm going to use just a long hoop is fine for this one, but work with what you've got on your equipment. And drag myself along, and quick hair check, drag myself along until my hands are right in the middle of my breastbone, my sternum. Best ever posture, keep those knees parallel. We're just going to press arms forward and back and forward and back and forward and back. This is really nice, the kind of body awareness posture exercise. It's going to work the shoulder of the arm that's closest to the rope a little bit more than the other one, but you can really kind of cue that awareness of what can you feel in your center. Really good for that kind of mind-body awareness, that connection. All right, we're moving on. I've got myself a little dumbbell again. I'm going to do a chest press forward with the rope arm. And then this arm, I'm just showing you on this side, palm is facing the back, and I'm just holding that weight down by the side of the box. That's why the long box in this awkward position. One chest press forward, one little press back of that weight. So we're finding the space forward of the body and then squeezing backwards. Again, we've got a kind of a postural awareness one here. Press and come back. I'm on a light spring, which is, I feel like, heavier than most, she says, making excuses on this particular reformer. But work to your body or your client's body. Find that sweet spot where this is a genuine kind of strength building exercise. You want to be able to do 6 to 8 repetitions before you think, oh, blimey, my arms have had enough. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You'll get to see what's going on with the other arm here a little bit more. Okay, best ever posture. Pitch that chest slightly forward. Chest press with the rope arm. Squeeze back with the weight arm. Exhale, press with that rope arm. Exhale, squeeze with that weight arm. Keeping everything steady. Steady as a rock in the center. Also be careful that your elbow doesn't fly back here at this moment. Elbow doesn't fly back behind you, pulling you into any kind of funky twist. We've got the control just to bring that hand back to that starting position. One more. Press and squeeze back. Beautiful stuff. All right, let's pop rope down. Okay, welcome to Hip Flexorville. This is a really effective one for actually strengthening the hip flexors, those muscles that hold around the front of the hip and the front of the thigh, as well as some abdominal work, some core work as well. So I'm going to take a little half roll back with an oblique twist and a wafty, gorgeous, graceful dancer-esque. My daughter called these like backwards elephants, I think, like a swinging trunk, almost like a kind of archer-esque, but with more of a swing action. Trying to keep the box still. So the box is kind of pressed halfway back just to give your legs a bit of room to breathe. Find that gorgeous half roll back articulation rounding through the lower back, and then pull the ribs around. Find that mid-spine twist. Sweep and pull up. Really nice way just to breathe and get things moving. And then finding and holding a little half roll back. And I reference that same little forwards and backs that we did at the beginning of our session. Reach forward, pull the knee back. And again, I'm really pulling that knee back into the chest. Stretch forward, pull back. Everything else solid as a rock. From there, I keep the legs still-ish, and I'm moving my body. My chest comes back and up. How high can you lift your chest towards an upright position, bringing your chest up towards your knee? This is tough. Let's go again. So we're going to start. So round 1, we're keeping the body still, moving the leg. Round 2, we're keeping the leg still, moving the body. Here we go. So keep the body still. Pull back, reach forward. Pull back, reach forward. Everything else is staying stable. Don't forget to breathe. Keep that core nice and tight. Tuck that tailbone under. Knee to chest. And then we go the other way around. Leg stays in a kind of fairly stable-ish tabletop position. We move that chest back and squeeze up. Move back. This is getting into the abs, and the hip flexors are screaming at us by this point, but that's okay. We're here for a reason. All right, my fave bit. We've switched the box down to short box. Make sure it is shoved up against those shoulder pads, heels up against the box, flat back, squat down, stick the booty out. We're keeping the upper body, arms, back, torso, super nice and strong and still, keeping that core nice and tight. And with a big bit of strength and an extra big bit of confidence, we're going to push that box back. Find a plank-esque positione here. We're going to push and fall forward. So we've got the forward and backwards with the box and the knees. And we're also referencing some of the things we've done already, that hip flexion, okay? This is much like those knee tucks we did when we were 4-point kneeling. If you want, you can then also reference that kind of single leg stretch and that alternating pattern that we did earlier in footwork, and you can go alternating. One leg stretches back over the box, pull that knee up underneath the belly, pull and stretch back. So you're alternating those legs, pull and stretch back. Let's do that on the other side. So again, back stays long and flat. Keep that butt low. We're going to keep on that kind of low horizontal level. And we're pulling the knee forward to the chest, stretching it out behind. That knee is coming forward. It's going back. It's coming forward and it's going back. I think I do maybe 6 to 8 each side. But you know your body. You know how these are feeling. These are really good to do as a big kind of powerful blast of energy. I like this as a kind of finale towards the end of my sessions. From here, we're going to reference that little balance thing. Heels stay where they are. Lift the chest upright. Come down to a little squat, or maybe if you're feeling particularly evil, as apparently I was here, little pulses here. Find that balance. Strengthen those quads, and then plop your booty down on the box. Nice to take a little breather moment here. I'm choosing to do a little breathy mid-spine twist. I'm bringing the hand up to the ceiling, taking it backwards, finding that back space behind the body, maybe even tapping the box, and then bringing it up and forward. Nice, you could take a double arm stretch up to the ceiling. A little side bend is lovely here. All right. Hands up, who forgot about that little side set chest press I did. This is actually a slightly different order to what I did it in my sessions. But here we go. I almost forgot this side. So let's sit side on that box. Here you've got a different angle of that chest press forward and back. So this is the one we did on the other side, where we brought the hands from the sternum, press forward, bring it back to the chest. Very good postural exercise here. If you're anything like me and you have a tendency to kind of arch into a little bit of lordosis, this one's a really good one for that. Just to check in, just to be aware. No right, no wrong, just be aware. And of course, strengthening shoulder. Okay, I'll come down to this side. I'm going to find myself a little half roll back. I'm going to sit tall. I'm going to exhale, half roll back. Just because I thought, why not? Let's complete all sides of the box. So we've done something facing all sides of the box. It's nice to do that little north, south, east, west journey sometimes. Also good just to kind of have a little check back in with the breath work and a little bit of abdominal control here. Nice and simple. Exhale, tuck that tailbone. Feel the little pull of the abs. Inhale, sit up and pull up nice and tall into that stretch at the top. Okay, I'm going to slink forward into the well, into the void, if you will. I'm going to reference that same little kind of squat position that we had on the reform a minute ago. Pushing those heels down to the floor, back long, stick your booty out. I'm going to pull the carriage forwards and backwards, back into my chest. Let it come forward with control. Squeeze, control, squeeze, control. Every time you pull that carriage, exhale, tighten the core. Pull the elbows in, close to your ribs, and out with control. Nice little power push at the end. And then why not stretch out into a lovely kind of downward dog-esque vibe here, and seems rude not to finish that with a nice roll up. Have a wiggle, shake things out. Guys, what a joy, what a pleasure, what a hoot. Thank you so very, very kindly for joining me in this session, because we've done so much flexion through the hips today, so much hip flexor work. I really felt the call to finish this with just a nice simple hip flexor lunge. You're going to intensify that if you keep your chest more upright, which is why I did a leaning forward into the footbar first, and then a little slightly more upright angle for my second version there. I hope this was interesting. I hope it was useful, whether you were just using it for your own little quick half-an-hour workout, or whether, like me, you're a teacher and you're curious as to how someone else guides thing. Obviously, I'm whizzing through so quickly. My teaching points would maybe be a little bit different, a little bit more spaced out if I had twice as long as this. Have such a lovely day, and I'll see you here another time, okay? Bye, folks. Lots of love. Ta-ra now. Bye-bye. Adios.